put down your baby and pick up a beer. Dad Jokes is back with a brand new episode, and not just any episode, Brandon. We're back with our 100th episode. So in fact, let's not pick up a beer. Let's pick up a bourbon or something. Maybe some champagne, but I don't know. I just think a beer doesn't do it. There you go. Some Angel's Envy. And you know what, Brandon? I got a little bit of the Angel's Envy rye in my glass right now. So
wow. We didn't even coordinate
that today. No, we didn't. That's pretty good. 100 episodes. We've been talking about this coming up for a long, long time, and it's finally here. It's actually even a little bit later than we anticipated due to a delay in recording this week, but we were excited for this episode. Jerry's
taking shots. I fell asleep.
I am taking shots. He fell asleep, like typical dad fashion. We joked about dads falling asleep on a couch episodes and episodes ago, and Brandon did it while we were supposed to record. But now we're here, 100 episodes. For those of you who haven't listened to us before, this is the podcast of two dads going through the journey of fatherhood while you listen to us while we do it. And now we've done it for 100 episodes. And you know what 100 episodes means, Brandon? Not only is this a milestone, but it also means it's a top 10 episode. So we're going to bring...
my favorite episodes.
They're great. We're going to bring to you guys 2 different top 10s today, some exciting ones. I'm excited for that. But before we get the festivities kicked off, you know, the show got its name from the famous dad jokes, because we bring to you dad jokes every single week. I got a couple today, Brandon, to celebrate our 100th episode. What about you? You got 1 or 2 today?
I got 1.
Okay, you got 1. Then you know what? I'm going to give you 1 now. And then how about we both give 1 later? Does that work?
I'm good with that. That works for me.
I think that makes sense. So I got 2. The first one I thought was decent. So, Brandon, you ready for it?
I'm waiting with bated breath, Jerry.
Here we go. So, Brandon, the other day a girl came up to me, and she said she recognized me from her vegetarian restaurant. But, you know, I was confused because I never met her before.
I think I've seen that before, and it got me chuckling. Especially my wife's a vegetarian, so that probably would have a fitting joke for me to guess as well.
Yes, that one was tailored a little bit towards you. But I got another one. I think that second one's a little bit better than that first one. But the first one, it caught my attention. Thought it was cute, so I've never seen her before. So that's the first one for the day. We got 2 more coming up. But yeah, Brandon, like I said, we got 2 top 10s today. We'll kind of, you know what, I'll tell everyone what they are. And that way they can kind of get excited before we get to what's been going on with the both of us. Our top 10s today are going to be a top 10 of things we cannot wait for our kids to try to eat. So different things that we're excited to introduce them to food-wise. And then we also are going to bring to you our top 10 gifts or things that we've either bought or someone has bought for our kids since basically they've been alive. Maybe even before they've been alive. But things that have been bought for them in their lifetime. We're going to go over those. It's kind of a fun thing. I'm excited to hear what you guys have. I know our list it was tough to come up with 5, so I'm excited for that. Before we get into that, Brandon, what's been going on? I know a ton's been going on in our household. It seems like we haven't talked for months, not just weeks, but it's a lot's going on over here. So what's going on with you guys?
I think since we kind of moved to a every couple week an episode, we've had some longer sections when we're going over what we've been doing, but unlike you, the last couple of weeks for us have not been really packed with a ton. Bryce was diagnosed with RSV, and he had been sick. He's turned the corner to a degree, but I mean that kind of had us chilling out as much as possible for a little bit because that's is contagious, and you don't want him passing that on to other people. So he's been pretty much just around his mom and my parents, no one else. Luckily, he's good now. He's through the antibiotic, and he got a subtle cough, but we're not really hearing anything else. We never had to. Sometimes you hear the horror stories. Kids have to be hospitalized, at least to other things. Luckily, that wasn't our experience. The worst thing that happened was basically because of like the buildup. he got an ear infection because of him laying on basically the side that he laid on is the way the doctor explained it. They get so congested that you can like have some mucus build up, and it affects their like ear canal, and it eventually leads to an infection. So the antibiotic more than anything else was to treat the ear infection. And also shout out. So we're in a weird position because we don't dislike his pediatrician, but we're not in love with his pediatrician. And we've been to this. There's a children's urgent care by us that we've had to use a couple times because either in this case our pediatrician. It was a Wednesday that we decided we wanted to take him in to get him checked out because he was kind of. This is actually a cool thing. I'm gonna kind of break the story up. So early on, it's very difficult as a parent to deal with a sick child. It's difficult now, but they can't say anything to you. They can't really explain things. Kelsey had mentioned that on Tuesday. This was about a week and a half ago, but Bryce had mentioned ear hurt. Like he had said ear hurt. So she told me basically that morning to pay a little attention to it. My mom texted us the next day and just letting us know, hey, while Bryce was over here, he said that his ear's hurting. And like he's been tugging at his ear. So that was 2 days in a row. Basically, I'm paranoid about ear infections, stuff like that from early on. So I was like, let's just take him in. Called the doctor at like 12:30, and little did I know they closed their office at noon. So that was a little slight annoyance for me. It just happened to be the wrong day. But took him to a children's urgent care, and this doctor was second time we dealt with him. Just great. Bryce liked him. Bryce doesn't always like doctors from the beginning. Just really good with the kids. So it's something for us to kind of think about. He's a little out of the way, but potentially someone that we would use in the future. But ultimately, he got diagnosed with RSV and ear infection. He passed that on to his mom. Unfortunately, it skipped right over me. I had a slight cough maybe, but I didn't really have the symptoms that they had at all.
Brandon, do you remember RSV from our childhood? Do you remember that being a thing? Because I feel like it's a huge deal now, but I don't remember that at all as a kid.
They got so many new like little viruses and stuff. Growing up, it was just like I'm gonna sound like
you had strep throat or you didn't, right?
Strep throat. I remember strep throat. I remember bronchitis, and I remember a cold. Those were the three. You had a cold. If the cold was real bad, you might
pink medicine.
Yeah. Oh man,
pink medicine. The bubble gum.
Bryce gets that. That's the amoxicillin. I couldn't pronounce it when I used to take it, but that I ain't gonna hold you a little bit like hit my finger when I've been giving it to him, and I could just wash it off, but I done tasted it. I tasted it a little bit.
That medicine is good because the only alternative to amoxicillin or like the bubble gum was every once in a while you get like that Robitussin, which is just disgusting. It's like the opposite of the bubble gum. I remember every once in a while. We really
segue in. But did your parents ever make you eat or drink castor oil? Was that a thing for you?
No.
Oh my God! Dude, I'm telling you, it's this thick, clear.
Oh, I know what it is,
dude. Like I need to stop talking about it. Occasionally, my mom would make. This has nothing to do with having a cold. I think it has something to do with like upset stomach and stuff like that. But like instant gag, like it's just thick, hard to get through. It tastes like it tastes like what I imagine an oil change would taste like. Like if you just.
I'm out on that.
Yeah, no. I'm out on castor oil. I'm out
on stomach. My dad would throw a ginger ale at me. That's it.
Good little burners. I still use it. He didn't want you to burp a little bit. But
all is well. Solution.
The one thing that sucks, and I don't think I bring up our current pregnancy enough during this, but so Bryce had RSV. Yeah, right. Surprise! Episode 100. We're revealing the news. But we so my mom got it, my dad got it, everybody got it but me, and everybody could take medicine, including Bryce, but Kelsey. And this is probably the sickest I've ever seen her in my life. Like she does not or did not feel good. She's turned a corner. But it's shout out to all the moms out there carrying the kids for us and not being able to take medicine, because I am the king of like I will medicate I will over medicate just to be able to get through the day.
Really?
So
I'm the
can
opposite.
Show up
I hate
oh
medicine.
my goodness. For
I won't
colds,
take it. Macy gets mad at me because she's all about it, and she's a nurse. You think I'd listen, but I have a headache, and I refuse to take aspirin half the time because I'm like, I don't know.
I'm like that with pain medicine for some reason, but for a cold, because cold you can't do nothing with. All you can do is really mask the symptoms.
Advil, cold, and sinus I'll take if I know I got like you got
never taken that in my life.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I'm straight like decongestant and cough medicine.
It's decongestant.
And oh well, I mean it's just different. I've never taken that specific decongestant. Sudafed all day over here.
Cold and sinus right
Playboy
now.
Sudafed. But other than that, my mom, she's a minister at our church, and she preaches probably I'd say 10 to 15 times a year. So Bryce, typically when he sees Granny up there, he either falls asleep or is like super attentive. Well, this was 2 Sundays ago. This was the first like inkling that he wasn't feeling well. He was a terrorist in the middle of church, like crying loud, trying to get down, like saying basically let me down, trying to run around. My Aunt Joyce was in the pew in front of us, and he was trying to run around and go yell at her. So I had to take him out, and as soon as I took him out, he realized Kelsey wasn't with me. He started screaming in the hallway. I'm sure they can hear us inside. So it was a rough outing in church. Finally, we got him to calm down just in time for like basically the service to be let out and him to be able to actually run around a little bit. And it's always, I remember growing up like the kids who would be like screaming and the parents in the back, and I'm definitely that person.
You're that guy now.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then last couple of things, we got our Christmas shopping out the way. So Bryce, he did really good actually in the store, and it's fun taking him out in situations like that because he's turning into like he's the opposite of stranger danger. Like every person he sees, if he's in the mood, like we were walking around Dick's Sporting Goods, and he was saying hi to everybody, and it didn't help that he was like in the cutest little outfit. So they all were like eating it up. Which was super fun. And then today I get to share this because we're late with the podcast. We're just getting back home actually from a Christmas lights walk. So the town we're in had about 1.5 miles of Christmas lights in the park. So we got together with my mom, Kelsey, my Aunt Joyce, and Bryce's favorite cousin, and we all walked around and saw some Christmas lights. So that was probably the highlight of the last couple of weeks, other than being sick a little bit. What y'all been up to?
Oh man, Brandon, we've been up to a lot of. I feel like a lot of stories. So the first thing that we kind of had that happened about 2 weeks ago now is Peyton. For our favorite topic as dads to talk about, right? Poop, right? So she typically goes to the bathroom almost every day, right? Maybe she'll skip a day, but she pretty much she's regular, right? Well, it had been like 4 or 5 days, and she hadn't gone to the bathroom. And I
forgot to ask you about this. I remember when you were going through
So I'm
this.
like, she's got to go. Well, then all of a sudden, I remember I told my mom, I think my mom was watching her, and she's like, oh, she was, like grunting and like in pain, but she didn't go, but I think she's real close. This is what she told me when I would pick Peyton up that day. And then Peyton was doing the same thing with me, but couldn't go. So then the next day, my mother-in-law had her. I'm like, okay, she's going to go today. Sorry, Deanna, my mother-in-law. Like, but you're probably going to get stuck with it. Same thing, nothing. But Peyton would be in pain multiple times throughout the day. So anyways, this goes on for like a week. And the problem was like Peyton would like be fine, but then she would randomly like lay down and be like literally in tears crying, like trying to go to the bathroom, but she couldn't. So we're like, what the heck? So we're like trying to get her prune juice, and we actually got baby laxatives that we gave her, like chewable ones. We're doing all this stuff, and she's like not going. So finally I'm watching her one day. Macy, I think, was at work, and she went a little bit, but not a ton. And I mean, she was probably in tears, like planking for like a half an hour. And I'm trying to help her. Meanwhile, I got the baby too. And like, I'm trying to rub her stomach, rub her back, like basically like just like whatever I can to help her, like, bicycle her legs. Nothing's working. So then we had a friend's Christmas with some of our friends that came over, And Peyton starts doing the same thing. And we're like, what the heck? And this is probably, Macy hadn't seen her that bad because most of the time she was bad, it had been like either I was home or like one of our parents. So anyways, Macy sees her. She's crying. So then Macy took her upstairs and luckily was able to help her go to the bathroom. But it was like a week of like just misery. It was tough. So after she went, she kind of was a little bit weird the next couple of days, but now she's back to normal. But it was random, man. I don't even know what it was, but that was weird. It was not
I
fun.
definitely feel bad for Peyton, but you brought this up. The people need to know. What was the status report on that diaper that Macy had to change? Like, how much are we talking?
It wasn't as much as you'd think. I think it was legitimately, like, not to get too, it was like just hard, right? You know?
Oh, no.
So I don't, I think it was just blocked up, but yeah, I don't know. So the problem was too that when she like finally, because Macy's trying to help her, she like basically like had her like naked and was trying to like get it, and then also like some of it got on her and stuff. So then we had to like wash her and bathe her and stuff, which was fine, but it was a little bit of a mess for us. But that was a little bit tough. But then speaking of Peyton, she's 2 now obviously, and we've definitely seen some of the terrible 2s come out. But I tell you, Brandon, she's either like amazing, like hilarious, funny, just the greatest kid in the world, or she's just the world is ending, and there seems to be no in between most of the time. She's had some moments lately where she's just the world is ending, but it's like I don't mind, even though like you get annoyed. Like if I know why she's upset, like she'll get upset sometimes. Like right now, her big thing is clothes. She doesn't want to take off something, or she doesn't want to wear something else. She hates socks. She doesn't want shoes, right? And that'll make her mad. And it's frustrating as a parent, but at least I know what made her mad. What's frustrating for us is when she does it for no reason. It'll just be, and nothing fixes it. She doesn't want to be hugged. She doesn't want to play. She doesn't want food. She doesn't want nothing. She just freaks out until she's done. And then she's fine. It'll just flip a switch. So the greatest story of this is what was it, like a week ago now, I leave work a little bit early because we're going to go do a Santa Claus thing at kind of the place you guys went to, where you basically, it's at this cider mill. You go, they take you on a train ride, you go to a cabin, you go see Santa.
Santa
right?
sucks.
The Santa was great actually for us, so we had a different one I think because he was great.
What color was his beard?
White.
Yeah, you had a different Santa.
Yeah, we had a different Santa. He was great. Honestly, he was fantastic. No, we had a really good Santa. The Mrs. Claus was decent, but the Santa was great. But anyways,
How do you judge Mrs. Claus? Like, what is Mrs. Claus do?
Same way you judge Santa. Like, are they nice?
Nah, Mrs. Claus smiles, opens the door, and takes your picture.
But she interacted with the kids. I went with like some family, so maybe it was a bigger group, so we had more time with Mrs. Claus.
Yeah.
But anyways, I get home.
You got a better experience. I'm kind of salty.
Yeah. Both kids are screaming, right? The baby's crying. Peyton's losing her mind. Off nothing. She got up from her nap, and that seems to be some of the times the trigger. She gets up from her nap, and she's just in a bad mood. I'm trying to calm her down, food, this, that, the other. Nothing, screaming. So then we got to put a coat on her and shoes, right? We're going in the car. It's cold out. Doesn't want any of it. So I'm like, fine, I'm just going to put you in the car. We'll worry about it when we get there. So this is a half an hour ride to get to this place from my house, like 34 minutes, I think. I kid you not, this kid screams the entire time from when we get into the car until we pull into the driveway. And Peyton doesn't cry in the car, and she is screaming. Meanwhile, Avery's crying too, but whatever. She's the baby. We can get her over her crying. But Peyton is screaming to the point where I literally look at Macy and I'm like, we should just probably turn around because she's not only going to be miserable, she's going to make miserable for everyone else. And Macy's like, yeah, you're probably right. She's like, let's just see how she is when we get there because my mom was going to be there, my sister with her kids. Like maybe that'll like make her better, right? So we park the car. She's screaming. I get out of the car. I walk to the other side. I open the door to get her. She looks at me and she goes, Daddy, what's that? And it's like pointing to like a sock on the ground. I'm like, that's your sock. And she's like, she starts laughing. Like just flipped a switch. All of a sudden she's in a great mood. Off of nothing. I don't even know. So then I'm like, okay, now I got to put socks and shoes on her.
Her timing was impeccable.
She's going to lose her mind, right? Put socks and shoes on her. Doesn't cry. Put a coat on her. Doesn't cry. Put gloves on her. A hat on her. Doesn't cry. What? It makes zero sense.
What were you trying to set her off at that point?
Well, I'm like, at that point, like all these things normally set her off, and she's fine with them. But she's like, she screamed for an hour straight, and then all of a sudden was fine. And then she did great. The Santa thing, she did great the whole time. Avery did great. It was a good time. The Santa was good. We got good pictures. She hung out with her cousins, was dancing, having fun, ate a candy cane. It was.
What cider mill
awesome.
did you guys go to?
Spicer's.
So it was the same one.
But there's two different things. There's two different huts. So I think we went to a different one than you.
I didn't realize there were two different huts.
I didn't until this year because my mom was like, that's the one we went to last year. And we passed it as we went to this other one. I'm like,
so
okay.
we got freaking Pizza Hut, and you guys got gourmet pizza.
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, Jabba the Hutt. That's actually who we had as Santa Claus.
Exactly. There you go.
Did you guys get donuts there?
Yep. We got
Hey.
We got donuts.
My in-laws didn't like them. They compared it to their donuts back home. Those donuts were fire to me.
Fire, yeah. The cinnamon sugar donuts were great, and we got hot cider, which was great.
Non-dunked, they're the best.
I didn't dunk it because I had hot cider.
Cinnamon donuts I've had.
It was good. It was really good. And Peyton had a candy cane for the first time, and she thought it was great.
You didn't dunk it because you had hot cider?
Well, honestly, I didn't dunk it because I had gloves on and I had a bunch of kids running around, probably more than anything. But that's what I told myself.
Okay, I didn't realize.
I didn't dunk it though.
Just for the people listening, we've had a big argument on this podcast before about dunking versus not dunking donuts and cider. I'm firmly in the don't dunk donuts and cider, don't dunk Oreos and milk, don't dunk anything.
I'm a big dunker. I love cider and donut
Jerry's
dunking.
a big dunker.
Cookies and coffee, cookies and milk, love it all. It's amazing.
But the line of delineation for you is the temperature of the liquid that you're dunking in.
Nah, I would have done. I said that, which I mean, it had a lid on it, so that was a little bit of a deterrent because I think it was hot cider, whereas cold cider maybe they want to have a lid. I don't know. Anyways, I didn't, but the donuts were great. She did great. But that's how she is lately. Just like randomly will be crazy. This last week she's actually been pretty good. She is. I don't know if this has anything to do with it. She's been getting her 2-year-old molars in. We noticed. I don't know if that's making her mad. So it's just weird sometimes. She just like loses it. But in other news, her speech is just insane. Like she can say so many things now and just like comprehends everything. And she's just. I mean, her personality is great. She's repeating things that we didn't even know that she the other day says, "Mommy's messy." And I'm like, "Oh, where'd you get that from?" And then Raja opened a present under the tree. Now every time she sees a present, she goes, "Oh, Rara opened presents." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, she did." But so, but she's just saying, I mean, literally can say so many things, is learning a lot. She's a lot of fun, but then just randomly turns into a little terrible twos, and it's a lot. Avery, on the other hand, she's been really happy during the day mostly. So, and she's been rolling over like crazy. She's starting to sit up some now. I wouldn't leave her alone sitting up, but she can sit up on her own for sure. She's fascinated with her hands. The problem is she still does not sleep well. Wakes up multiple times a night. Honestly, if she wakes up 2 times during the night, that's a win, which is not great at this point. But she just does not like bedtime. And honestly, she doesn't even. It's not even like randomly good nights.
Didn't we?
Yeah, you did. It's. I mean, she's been tough. They both had a doctor's appointment, Brandon, recently. So Peyton's was her 2-year checkup. Avery's was her 6-month. Peyton is almost 30 pounds. She's 29.5 pounds, and she's like, I think she's like 85th percentile for weight, and then Avery is like 85th percentile for weight too. She's like, I want to say 17.9 or something like that. So they're both a little bit on the bigger side, and both around 50 something percentile for height, but they're both doing good. Avery got some shots, what didn't help with her crankiness at night. But they both did good. The one thing that was kind of funny is they had to draw blood from Peyton on her toe, and she did good with it, but then she didn't want the Band-Aid, but she wanted her shoe back on, and her toe's bleeding, and we're like, no. And so that was a whole thing. So that was fun. But that was
like draw blood from the toe.
Yeah, I don't know. They did. That's what
I
they
don't
did.
think we've ever had to do that.
I don't even know what it was for. I was trying to take care of the baby at that point, but that's what they did. I don't know. It was fine. She did good most of the time. But Peyton, I will tell you this, Brandon, and I wasn't expecting this. I mean, we love Christmas around here, but Peyton has been super, super excited for Christmas. Like, she loves Santa Claus, which, again, she just, like, loves Santa. She loves things to do with, like, presents and, like, the advent calendar. So it's kind of cool because she's super geeked for Christmas and wants to read Christmas stories. And it's been a lot of fun. So we're excited for that coming up here. But yeah, I mean, this year's definitely going to be probably our favorite, having the 2 kids and then Peyton starting to understand stuff a little bit. So, we're geeked for Christmas, and it's just around the corner. So I can't wait for that. Other than that, like I said, just Trying to survive with 2 kids, which is always fun. You'll find out soon. The last thing I'll say is on kind of a somber note, we had a funeral today for a family member of mine that passed away, and the kids didn't come to the funeral, but they went to the funeral home the night before for visitation, and they both did really, really well with a bunch of people that they didn't know that well, and just behaved. So I was really happy with that, and it was nice too because I got to see some of my family that needed some. Probably benefited from having some little kids around. So they did a great job. That was good. Actually, today at the funeral, lots of people commented, "Your kids were so well behaved yesterday." So that always feels good as a parent because they're not they're not always well behaved. Although Avery did poop on me the second we got there and on my suit jacket. So I picked her out of the car.
Like it got on your suit jacket?
Oh yeah, 100%. I picked her out of the car seat and then it was on my suit jacket. So luckily I just went shirt and tie. But yeah, that was fun. Dad stories.
That was that Mr. Rogers suit jacket too, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably. The one you think.
Hopefully we never see that again.
I like it. But Brandon, we're gonna go over lots of baby gear today. But before we go over some of our favorite gifts or baby gear, if you will, what's your piece of baby gear to share with the folks today?
So I'm cheating. It's not
Shocker.
really baby gear, but I wanted to bring up. So it's Bluey, right?
Ooh.
And you can do a lot of different things with Bluey. But it's actually a bingo doll that isn't here yet. We just bought it. But why did we buy it? If you listen back to some previous top 10 episodes, spoiler alert, we did like a top 10 or top 5 TV show for our kids. And at the time, in the early episodes, Jerry was telling me how much great Bluey was. I was fighting him on it. Telling me how great it was, fighting him. Finally, I put it on. And the reason I was fighting him on the beginning is because Bryce was never into it. Finally, Bryce got like slightly into it where he let it like play in the background, but it wasn't Miss Rachel. And Miss Rachel, he just like loved. But I started watching it and I'm like, man, the show is legitimately, I would watch it without Bryce being in the room.
Yeah,
like,
I would too.
There have been episodes that I'm not joking, I've cried. Like, there's one episode
the baby race episode
I freaking ugly cried. It wasn't baby race. There was an episode where they like Bingo is like dreaming and like the mom like basically comforts her and within a span of 7 minutes, the episode was 7 minutes long. They told the most beautiful animated story I've ever seen in my life.
Man.
And me and Kelsey looked at each other. Dude, I look at Kelsey. She got tears in her eyes. I got tears in my eyes. And then the thing that happened like months ago. It just so happened that I'm watching Bluey with Bryce yesterday, and the same episode come back on, and I'm like, "Why is this affecting me in the exact same way?" It's like season 2, episode 6 for people who want to go watch
the baby race episode, Brandon. That one will get you all in your feelings.
I've seen that episode. That's the one where like she makes the mom makes the Bluey's mom feel better about like
because she like was trying to get. No, that's the one where like they asked like when baby or Bluey first walked and they tell the story and like
they're like competing. That's what it was.
Yeah, and then at the end,
but the other mom makes Bluey's mom feel it was touchy feely. But it wasn't season 2 episode. I think it was 6 or 7. I'm telling you, man, that thing was different, man. Like
they got
I cried some real G tears.
There's a new episode in the new season about like Bluey's mom's sister who like can't have kids. But then she's there with oh my gosh, bro. That one, I'm like, what are you doing, Bluey? What are you doing to us?
Bluey is not for kids. Bluey is 100% for the adults.
The theme
and it just got
songs
cute
for kids.
animation. Oh my
Theme songs for kids.
That's basically, so what I'm getting at, the reason we bought Bingo is because Bryce, I can't say what I want to say, but he could give a crap about Bluey. Bryce loves Bingo. Like, the name of the show, just so you guys know, is Bingo. Bryce, well, now at this point, the turning point was like a week ago. He asked, you give him choices, Miss Rachel, Daniel Tiger, or Bluey. He comes up with his own word. I want to watch Bingo. Like, that dude asked
Peyton
to
would
go
say
into...
it Dingo.
Oh, man.
Bingo.
That kid, and I don't understand why, but that kid loves Bingo. Doesn't care about Bluey. When we turn the TV off, it's by Bingo. When he's singing the theme song, he perks up at Bingo. I could care less about Bingo myself. Bingo is a big character. It's a 4-person. It's a 4-person show. Bingo's the weakest person in the entire show.
No, Muffin's the worst. Muffin's the worst character.
That's true. But that kid loves some bingo. So he has a
awesome.
big. Here's the other thing that's kind of crazy.
We have a stuffed bingo.
This is baby gear related. And maybe this is why, because I know you're a penny pincher. If you go to Amazon,
it's cheaper.
Same company. The bingo plush toy is $19.99. The Bluey plush toy, same size, $42.99.
No way.
There's like 120% markup on Bluey compared to bingo.
Insane.
It's crazy.
That's funny. We have both.
Maybe like 105%.
I don't know. I didn't buy them, so hopefully we didn't pay that. But that's funny. That's a good piece of baby gear, and it does sing the theme song and everything. So I like it.
I didn't know that. Hopefully ours does.
If it's the same one. My piece of baby gear is something that Peyton got for her birthday that at first I was confused, but then after it being explained to me, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And it actually has been pretty cool. But basically it is the Tovla kitchen set for kids. And if you look it up, Tovla's Tovla, but basically it's like knives and a cutting board. But the knives can't cut the kids. Like it's not like sharp, but it will cut through things. It's really bizarre. And what's cool is like you can kind of include your kids in cooking. So like Peyton has one of those like towers they can stand up near the counter, and she loves it. But then now she will like sometimes cut things with us. Like she likes to cut like a banana and then eat it, right? And she just thinks it's cool to be included. So I thought that was kind of neat. And like it helps them maybe get them interested while you're cooking food, so you can keep them entertained while you're still cooking stuff, but also like teaches them how to do certain things that they might use as they get a little bit older. So Tovla kitchen set, pretty inexpensive. We got it, like I said, as a gift, and she absolutely loves it. You can get like one of the sets for like just the knives is like $10, or like the whole set with like the cutting board and stuff's like $20. So it's not that expensive, and they work. So something to look at. I never heard of it until we got it as a gift, and she's entertained by it. So Tovla for the win.
For the win.
For the win. All right, Brandon, you ready to get into today's episode? Some top 10s for our 100th episode.
Can't wait, Jerry. And my list is going to be better than your list.
What do you want to start with? Do you want to start with the baby gear? Or do you want to start with the food?
We just kind of came off of baby gear. Let's start with food and end it with baby gear.
Okay. Did you rank your food 5-1?
Never rank it. Just throw it all on there. I can rank it if I need to.
All right. Well, you hit me with, well, we'll call it your number 5, but we'll just hit me with the first one you're going to tell us about then.
Okay. First one I'm going to tell you about is sushi. I am a huge fan of sushi. My favorite restaurant probably in the state is a sushi restaurant. Shout out to my team for Christmas. They got me a nice size gift card, $150 to the sushi restaurant. Got turned on to this place. It's called Maru Sushi. They got a few locations. Jerry, you've tried it, and you're kind of Jerry's making like bougie face at me, like I'm like you can't buy sushi at Kroger for like $5 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. 10 out of 10 don't recommend that, for the record. But Bryce and his mom and myself kind of bonded and developed a love of sushi and of each other over sushi. We used to go eat at this restaurant on Sundays because they had like 40% off, and that's all I could afford at the time. But it was really good sushi. So currently, and probably going forward, Bryce is a vegetarian. So my list is kind of tuned towards that, even though I'm not. But they have a lot of different options for him there. And if he ever delves into like his grandfather on his mom's side was a pescatarian when I met him, so he might end up eating seafood at some point. I absolutely will make him a sushi snob, one way or the other.
Well, Brandon, not surprisingly, sushi is also on my list. It's funny. I knew when I put it on the list.
We probably got a bunch of overlap.
We do, but sushi is great. But mine's not as poetic as your. My reasoning is basically I love it and my wife doesn't. And the person I would eat sushi with most of the time would be my brother, and he moved to Seattle. So basically I don't get to eat it very often anymore. So I would love to introduce my daughters to it, and I would love to have something to go eat with them. I think that would be good for dad and good for them. But also, like, I think part of the thing is I want my kids to try a bunch of different things, even if they end up not liking them, because I think that for me, growing up, I did try a lot of stuff, and now I eat a lot of stuff, whereas some people I know didn't, and they're kind of more picky as adults. So I think exposing your kid to more varieties of food at a young age, and maybe I'm wrong in this, but just my experience would be that it potentially leads them to liking more things. So sushi's on my list too, Brandon. I don't discriminate against fish or crab or vegetarian sushi. I like it all. So just give me all the sushi.
Turn up. All right, my next one is I'm gonna leave it in a similar vein to sushi, but it's hibachi, and not just like takeout hibachi. It's let's go sit around the grill and let's enjoy the experience. I want the guy at the grill to throw the different things at Bryce while he's cooking them up. Throw rice at him. Throw some onions at him. He might throw some chicken at him. Bryce might have to juke move him to the left, juke move him to the right.
Chicken for the first time because the hibachi guy doesn't realize what it is.
What's funny is
no.
Oh, that would all happen in slow motion for sure. Like I had to jump in front of him and like offer like
you'd be dying
myself as
laughing.
tribute. Oh my goodness, it'd be hilarious. The first time to do ate sushi or ate fish, or I can't talk. The angel envy is hidden. Yeah, it was at a hibachi restaurant that I convinced him to go to. But for me, I remember going to hibachi restaurants growing up, and this was kind of like middle school, teen years, and it like the whole experience just like I was enamored with it. So you can get great vegetarian hibachi. You can sauce up some tofu, put a little sesame glaze on it, mix it with some rice and noodles, and you can throw some tofu at him. We'll let him know that he's a vegetarian.
I like it.
Hibachi for the win, and it's more about the experience than the actual food.
That's a good one, Brandon. I don't have that on my list, but I do love hibachi, so I don't hate that one at all. The next one on my list, honestly, if we were ranking, would probably be my number one, but I'm going to say it now just in fear that you might have it on your list, and it's my number one, so I'm going to say it. But this one, it's weird, because if anyone asks you, like people always ask, what's your favorite food, right? Or if you could only eat one thing the rest of your life, what would you eat? And my answer is always the same. And
this for sure on my list.
Chips and salsa. I freaking love.
It's not on my list.
I love salsa more than anything in the world. Like I could literally eat salsa every single day. And if like I don't have like a bad snack or sweet habit, but I could eat, if I had chips and salsa in front of me, I'll eat all the chips and salsa. But beyond that, growing up, my dad always makes homemade salsa. Always made it for parties. And he would have me help him. So I would
Big
help
Gerald,
make
how have I
salsa
not
for him.
had this before?
I'm surprised you haven't had my salsa before, because I used to make it in college. But my dad would always make it, and I would help him. And then eventually, when I got older, I started making it for the parties myself. And then now I occasionally make it. I used to make it in college. I made it at home. So I make homemade salsa, and it's again the experience. It's fun. It's good, and I want to teach my daughters how to make salsa, and it's delicious. I'm not gonna lie. My brother-in-law makes salsa now. He actually gets it jarred, and like I think he's trying to sell it at the farmer's market and stuff. Like his is really good. So my family's big into making salsa. He has his own garden, uses his own peppers and everything too. So everything's fresh, and but we're a big salsa family. Spicy, not spicy, kind of how you like it. I like mine to have spice in it for sure. I definitely have a habanero in there or two. But yeah, salsa, man, it's got to be my number one.
So listen up. We've known each other for probably going on 12 years now at this point. I've never been more upset with you than I am right now, because salsa, and I've been upset with you recently. Like salsa is, if I made a personal top 5 for what I want to eat, salsa is definitely like my number one. Chips and salsa is number 1, number 2 snack. And the fact that, like, if I go downstairs to my outside fridge right now,
I'm surprised you haven't had it. Cam's definitely had it.
Listen, you're done talking about this right now. I don't want to hear anything else you guys say.
The problem is I don't make it anymore because Macy doesn't like it. Like, she doesn't like salsa. So I'm making a giant bag.
Macy don't like so far 2 of the 3 things that you brought up.
Oh yeah, you'll notice that. So correct. Far. She don't. Well,
actually, this is 2 of the 2.
She don't like spicy stuff, and I like spicy salsa. Like, my salsa's not spicy, so I don't know. I'm surprised you haven't.
Let me tell you about myself. I'm the king of mixing store-bought salsa with fresh peppers and like the right hot sauces. And I can freak that up and make it taste like the best thing you ever had, or at least the best thing I ever had.
Growing up, did you call it salsa or did you call it hot sauce?
Salsa. Hot sauce is hot sauce.
Well, I agree with you, but it's weird because my family like actually would call salsa like hot sauce, like oh, we're gonna make some hot sauce. And until I got older, I didn't realize that was weird. And now I don't do it anymore. But it's like it's weird. Like my dad has like hot sauce, actual hot sauce too. Like he would always have. So it was weird that he would call salsa that too. But anyways, yeah. I mean,
my favorite like little hood Mexican restaurant spots where you can get like 12 tacos for $8.
Mm-hmm.
You ask for hot sauce, they give you salsa. So I kind of get it. I don't know. Maybe that's just I actually don't know where that comes from.
I think I might get some fresh salsa for my brother-in-law this holiday season. I'll see if I can bring some.
If he's selling it, buy 2 jars and I will pay you for it.
His is fire. His is like thin. I make thicker salsa. His is thin and it's real good.
We'll talk about this after the podcast. We haven't like side conversations. So mine is another general one, but my next thing is buffets. Now this is something that Kelsey hates. Me and her have never been to a buffet before, ever. She finds it absolutely detestable.
I love it. I want to take Kelsey there.
So, she won't go. You can show up in the parking lot. She gonna stay in the car. Do not like buffets. She thinks it's the grossest thing she's ever seen in her life.
She's not wrong, but you're not wrong either. That's the great part about it.
Yeah, she's wrong. It's not gross.
It's gross, but it's also amazing.
Dude, like I remember. So this was a similar experience. That my mom hates buffets. My dad loves buffets. My dad used to win most of the time when we were growing up. And after church on Sundays, for a good period of time, you could find us at Old Country Buffet, Golden Corral.
Ryan's.
They got oh my!
You ever go to Ryan's? Ryan's was the best, man. Ryan's.
I was saving this, Jerry.
Oh,
so you
that's
got
the
two.
best
You got
one.
two. You got 2 hitters. So I'm the firstborn. For those who don't know, in my family, and my parents for years like struggled having children. Actually, I never shared this on the podcast before, but actually, I don't know if you know this, Jerry. But my mom, like they were told they couldn't have kids. And it took them 12 years, and ultimately, I came. And at the time,
I had 3.
They got 3. My mom was still working when I was born, but my dad took a second shift job to be able to basically watch me for the most of the time during the day. Then he dropped me off at my grandmother's house for a couple hours until my mom could pick me up. But we became known as the dad and son who went to Ryan's, and we would go there like once or twice a week. He'd take me there. We had like a wait. It's so crazy. The rolls.
The rolls.
I'm saying this. I don't fully remember this, but it's just the nostalgia of kind of what you were told. And our waitress from there, like, basically followed us for like years. Like, she would show up randomly at our house. Like, her name was Jenny. I don't even know. I couldn't pick her out of a lineup today. But I just remember Jenny. She was a nice Asian lady who was a waitress, and she would randomly show up at our house. Like, sometimes show up with gifts. Like, she would kind of like follow me throughout life to a degree. That's because me and my dad would go to Ryan's, and it was like a bonding experience. He just had me tagging along. It's like one of those, like, I almost want to be able to replicate something like that with Bryce. So it's more nostalgic than anything else, but that's why the buffet is on my list. And don't sleep on Ponderosa and Ponderosa chicken. They still got a couple in mid-Michigan that you can frequent.
Brandon, the next one on my list is something that if you had to like, because chips and salsa is probably not considered a food, quote unquote. It's more like a snack or whatever. But if you talked about my favorite like actual food, and this growing up, like I was also helped my dad out with a lot, and now I try to do myself. and that's some barbecue ribs. I love me some barbecue ribs, and
I
especially
thought
I like
this
to
is what you was
smoke
gonna
them.
say.
Yeah, I like to
Last time.
smoke ribs, and I like to try new recipes, and it's fun to do because you can do it with because you can do different like styles, and you get your kid involved. But I hope I hope my girls like they can be girly girls, and I'm all for it. I'm all for whatever they want to be, but you can't be afraid to get messy with some ribs. You can't. You got to be able to have like you can't. I just a good rib is just fantastic. So I can't wait to try when they're like old enough to appreciate it, and just especially when they're like maybe they're like 4 or 5 and they're getting super messy and eating them, and they're like, "These are great, Dad. I want that." So I'm definitely gonna be making some ribs, and until they like them, I'll keep trying new recipes until they at least like one.
So I'm gonna leave that out of my list because that was like I got 6 things on this list, and
Okay.
I had that on there just in case you didn't mention it. So I like barbecue, not even specifically ribs, just barbecue in general, and you can
Brisket.
both do some. You can do some pretty good vegetarian barbecue options, but if Bryce ever dabbled in the dark side, Kelsey, close your ears. I changed his life with some barbecue ribs.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
crazy. I love it.
ribs.
But my next one is amusement park slash like county fair elephant ears.
Those are
We
great.
like, oh my goodness, like
Those are
hot.
great.
You walking past.
With some
You just got
lemonade.
off a roller. Let me take go here with fresh squeezed lemon. That's great too. So go with me here, Jerry. You walking. You just got off the greatest roller coaster of your life, and you
Okay.
walking up the road. And you a smell. It's almost like the Looney Tunes. You remember Looney Tunes and like the
Oh yeah.
the smell had like a trail, and the trail like just you could just
You catch your
you
nose.
breathe in and you follow the trail and
Oh.
it just guides you and you see
Powdered
in the
sugar.
distance like a red and white little like shack built up,
Awning.
and it says fresh squeezed lemonade, and you get up to the counter and you order those hot, sizzling, crispy elephant ears. And Jerry, I'm telling you, the elephant ears are good in and of themselves, funnel cakes, whatever, but there's nothing quite like them from the amusement park. What's your next one?
So my next thing is and this is you kind of touched on this, but I'm gonna go a little. This is more like a category, and it kind of goes back to again a theme. Um, is seafood, and the reason I say it is my wife again not a huge seafood person, but my family growing up is been huge into seafood. Like my dad, and we're talking like everything. Like we used to catch fish. We'd scale them, we'd cook them, we'd make them do fish fries ourselves, right? I'm talking we do crawfish broils. We would do a number of different things involving seafood. I mean, lobster. We'd have crab legs at my grandma's house. She would love that for her birthday. She'd always have like crab legs and stuff. And I just love all things seafood. Whether it's like I said, you catching bass, sea bass, and like, or whether you're catching, fish yourself and cooking it, or you're going to a fancy restaurant and getting it. Good seafood is just it's just different. It hits different. A good lobster bisque, oh my gosh, is amazing. But again, I kind of have that with my family, but my wife doesn't like it much, so I don't get seafood too often. So I'd love to have my kids like it, so it's something I can do more often, just because I do like seafood quite a bit, and I like them to get into it because it feels like people that don't like it, especially when they're younger, just never get into it. And it's like it's a shame because like seafood's so good, and it's a whole category. And if you don't like it, just to not want any seafood is just it makes me sad. I don't want that for them. Even shrimp, man. Oh, good shrimp is just fantastic. So catfish, all of it, all the seafood. I want it all.
So I'm going complete opposite of what you're talking about, the seafood. Hey, I love me some seafood. As I've mentioned plenty of times, my dad's from northern Louisiana. We get our fair share of crawfish boils. So as you know, I absolutely love it. But my next thing is chocolate chip cookies, and not just any chocolate chip cookies. Chocolate chip cookies from Cake Bakery in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We had these at our wedding. A lot of times when we go to Grand Rapids, we have to make a stop or have our in-laws pick them up for us on their way down here. I mean, just imagine like the perfect crispy outer edge, the soft gooey middle, chocolate just running out of the cookie. I'm getting too excited here, Jerry. It's just a chocolate cookie. That's what people are thinking. But the other thing is, there's someone in your household, you've had a lot that she doesn't like, but your wife Macy absolutely loves Cake and Bakery chocolate chip cookies, doesn't she?
She does. She does. I put all things on the list that my wife doesn't like, but you put one on that she does. This next one though, she kind of likes. My last one is kind of similar to like you did one like this kind of, but it's what I classify as ballpark food. So like going to the ballpark, man, there's nothing better than just having a ballpark hot dog or having like the nachos. I'm not talking like the little nachos with just the cheese. I'm talking like the loaded ones that you get at a ballpark game. The Italian ice, whatever it is. If you go to the ballpark, I love baseball. I love the atmosphere, but also the food is just the best. So I can't, wait until the kids are old enough where they're like begging me for whatever at the game. Cause like that's just, there's something about sitting at the game eating peanuts or, eating the popcorn or eating the hot dog and watching the Tigers probably lose if it's anything like the last few years. But ballpark food's up there for me. Again, nostalgia, memories, and just good food typically. Although expensive lately, but it is good. Good deal. Well, Brandon, let's go on to our next top fives, which are pieces. I'm not gonna call it baby gear. We're gonna say gifts that we have either bought for our kids or someone else has bought for our kids. Just basically things that have been bought for our kids that we just absolutely have loved, either still love or loved at one point in time. We don't really classify it as like it has to like last a certain distance. Just things that go in the Hall of Fame of baby gear, if you will. So, I'll kick it off with the first one, Brandon, because you kind of kicked off the last one. So the one that I'll put up there that I'm actually sitting near right now, and my mom bought this for Peyton over a year ago, and she loves it, plays with it all the time, pretty much anytime she's downstairs, and that is her little kitchen set. And it's one of those kitchen sets. It's got like a little fake oven, a fake sink, a bunch of little utensils. And I mean, I swear she loves this thing. She loved it when she was 1. She loves it now that she's 2. I have nieces and nephews that come over that are 3, 4, 5. They love it. I mean, it seems to like last the time and it doesn't take up a ton of space. I don't know. It's just great. Like you can't go wrong. That's why you see them in so many people's houses because it's just it's a standard. And I think you guys have one.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know pretty much anyone who has kids around our age. Almost everyone has one because I feel like they just work, right? They just work.
Yeah, Jerry, they work. Bryce loves his that he got for his birthday. So we're always having fun in the basement with his kitchen so he can go downstairs and do cooking. But my first one on this list from a gifts perspective, it started with his Kiki and his Papa Dan, who are Kelsey's parents. They got him a Retrotech bike, which is kind of a balancing bike. At the time, it was set up like a tricycle. No pedals. The motion is all from like the kid pushing the bike. But this kid rides that day in, day out all the time. And his Uncle Jay was in town earlier this year, saw that he was getting a little big for the first one he had. And lo and behold, after he left and went back home to Texas, what showed up but a brand new Retrotech bike in the next size up for bike. So this one, or for Bryce. So this one has 2 wheels, doesn't have the 3 wheels like the one previous, and he can go even faster. A lot of times we got to slow him down, but honestly, I think it's going to turn into something where he is able to really just be able to ride a bike completely when it's time to get an actual pedal bike. I think the learning curve is going to be a lot less steep when it comes to that. So that's the first one, the Retrotech bike.
Yeah, Peyton's got a couple bikes. She kind of likes them, but she's never taken them like that before. The next one on my list is something that Peyton started playing with probably when she was like 6 months old and still uses almost every single day, and that is her little mini chair. Just a little kid's chair. It's like a soft plush chair, and hers is Minnie Mouse, but they have tons of different superheroes or characters from Disney. And when she was little, she loved to climb on it and like kind of help herself. That's how she kind of learned to stand and like walk along things. And now she loves to sit in it and bring a blanket on it. Or she likes to put her legs across the armrest and put her head across the other armrest and lounge in it. She loves that thing. I mean, absolutely loves that thing. And that's one of those things that you like to rotate toys, right? Or rotate things. You can't rotate that thing. It's always got to be there because she will legitimately sit in that thing every single day for at least part of the day. And she likes to put her dolls in it. It just, yeah. I mean, that chair has definitely got its money's worth. I'm pretty positive that Avery got one for Christmas. And I'm not mad about it because, again, it's great.
So you know what Santa brought, huh?
I didn't buy it. I think my mom bought her one, honestly. I don't know which one it is, but I think grandma bought her one. So we'll find out. But it's not a bad thing, other than I got 2 chairs now to take up space. But if she's anything like her sister, Avery's gonna love it.
Yeah, Bryce has a chair that actually Uncle Jay's gonna come up a couple times this episode, but he has a Detroit Pistons chair that his Uncle Jay bought him, and he loves that, and a chair similar to what you described with Peyton as well that he gets in every day. But our next gift that we love is something that's come up plenty of times on the podcast again, and it's the Tony's box.
Oh yeah.
And it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's the sound that you hear all day long in the background.
Right. And if you knock it off, they notice.
Yeah, that thing, it is constantly going, no matter what. But he has a ton.
Oh, I kick it.
That's hilarious. Yeah, he has a ton that he's gotten in the past few months. And the latest one that he really, really likes is Daniel Tiger, actually. Mm-hmm. He's gotten into that show. And that's the cool thing about those Tonys. Like, I've used it in the past. Bryce is just finally starting to get into Disney movies. I've shown him like the Nemo or the Cars character, and then turned on the movie. So unfortunately, you got like 2 competing sounds going on because there's no way, as you mentioned before, he's letting that thing be off of the Tony. But it's just kind of like background that helps with their independent play. They have educational ones out there. We got a bunch of them. I think we got like 15 to 20. You guys probably have even more than we do.
Yeah.
But you have Holiday Song, Penguin, Grinch, the intro one, Cars, Toy Story, Lion King. So Finding Nemo, Winnie the Pooh, Lilo and Stitch, Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, Daniel Tiger, like I mentioned. And it's just, it's a fun activity that you can continue to buy little figurines for. They are great little gifts to get your kid, and they will have them playing all day, every day, and they probably will overstimulate the parent a lot.
I have the Tony's box on mine too. Pretty much all the reasons you said. I think we have like 18 figurines now. It's just great, and again, it is annoying, but she loves it. It's entertaining. I think it kind of spans multiple years. You know, you can just change kind of which one she's interested in. Her sister will be able to use it. You know, it's cool. I definitely like it. It also helped, I think, with Peyton, like talking and learning and stuff too, because she knows what the characters are, and she knows, you know, like what they sing and stuff like that. So she absolutely loves it. It gets used all the time. So yeah, Tony's box is for sure on our list as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you told me about them, I was thinking one more thing, but they end up they've worked out well for you guys and us as well. My next thing is going to be, this is going to be a theme. I'm going to say it over and over again. I brought it up 50 times, but the Love Every boxes, man. We got them as an initial gift that we put on our baby registry, where a lady, interesting enough, her name's Tony, but she bought the first 6 months, and I mean, even those original toys, Bryce still plays with from time to time. And as we start cleaning things up and getting ready for the new kid, if the toys that have stood the test of time have been those Love Every toys. And there's always an activity that go along with it, something that will help him not only learn, but it's fun for him to play with. I can't speak highly enough of the Love Every box. And on top of it, they show you how to use it. And how to make it both fun, interactive, but learning with your kids as well. It's great.
Yeah, those are great. Though I almost put those on my list, but I didn't. One thing I did put on my list, Brandon, that honestly is probably mostly on there because we've had 2 kids now, and I bet you after you have your guys' second kid, it'll probably make an appearance back on the list. But that is the music piano mat, because the piano mat is just, it's so clutch when the first 6 to 8 months or 9 months or whatever, and it's entertaining for them. It doesn't take up a ton of space. It's kind of fun as a parent to see them interact with the stuff. Peyton, it definitely came in handy and it worked. Avery, I think, likes it even more than Peyton did. She'll play on it all the time. Now she rolls away from it, but it's just great. It's a great thing for early on. It's probably the first thing, like when your kid's starting to, from newborn to like you could actually put them down place. One of the, other than putting them down maybe in a swing, one of the first things you'll actually get them to interact with or play with is that piano mat. So that's definitely on the list. It's something that I would recommend every new parent get. So that's the next one on my list, Brandon.
Perfect. And I'm actually going to combine my last 2 into one. And it's going to come down to the different slides that Bryce have. It's basically our basement setup, but it's the different slides that we have. And one that I about guarantee is on your list, and that's the Nugget couch.
It's not, although the Nugget couch is fantastic, and she's starting to play with it more now. So honestly, if she started playing with it the way she does now, 5 months ago or 3-4 months ago, it might be, but she honestly hasn't taken to it until like the last couple months.
That's shocking to me. But so for Bryce, the way our basement is set up, we have basically a man cave for Dad and then a Bryce cave for Bryce. And a part of that is almost toys that like lead into each other. So it's a Little Tykes hoop that spills into the Nugget couch setup, which is also connected to a Nugget type slide. It's from Sam's Club. It's like I think the Great Value version, but same exact color scheme. You think the Nugget made this. So it folds into a chair or to a slide. We have the slide that goes into a ball pit that's ironically the exact same color. And then to round out this little toddler obstacle course, there's a pickler triangle setup that has basically a wooden triangle. That's a climbing triangle that leads into another slide. And then you can kind of get right back into it. So all those Bryce uses all the time, and he absolutely loves them.
Yeah, those are good. My last one, Brandon, is something that we actually had a whole episode on, and it's something that I actually am very happy that it was a Christmas gift last year, and that is our Even Flow wagon. And it honestly, we did a thing on wagons. I wasn't sure if we needed that wagon is great. I much prefer using the wagon to the stroller when I can. It's great for walking the kids around the neighborhood. It's great for the zoo. It's great for anywhere you're out. It lets them kind of be more interactive, get in and out easily. Peyton seems to like it better. And now I haven't really used it with Avery too, but I'm excited because you got the 2 of them. I think it's easier to use than like our stroller, but it's cool. It's really cool, that wagon. I'm glad we got it. And like I said, I think it's going to only get better now that we got the 2 of them, and Avery can kind of sit up and be in there on her own. And probably not now, but in the next few months for sure, she's going to start being able to be okay in there. And I actually think it'll help her being in there with Peyton wanting to stay in it as well. So I'll go with my Even Flow wagon to round out our top 10s of our 100th episode, Brandon.
And it's crazy that I've, how do I put this, been able to put up with you for 100 episodes, Jerry.
Would you hit us with a 100th episode dad joke?
Oh, I'm excited about this one. Are you ready for it?
I'm waiting with bated breath, Brandon.
All right, Jerry. What are Michael Jackson's favorite pronouns?
Hee hee.
Hee hee. I cannot believe you got that right.
Yes. That's great. I hadn't heard that one either, but I just I was trying to think of Michael Jacksonisms. So
Michael Jacksonisms.
Hee hee. Michael Jacksonisms.
All right.
I like it. All right, my second one. All right. You ready for it?
Yeah. I'm waiting with baby.
So, Brandon, what happens when you eat aluminum foil?
Eat aluminum foil. I have no idea.
You sheet metal.
That's pretty risque for you.
I told you, I thought that one was pretty good.
That's pretty good, Jerry. Though I honestly, for the people at home who don't know, you do not cuss at all. So that was the closest I've heard it in a long time. Well, when was the last time you actually did your wedding?
Since my wedding, probably.
Okay. That's crazy. Well, 100 episodes, so you decided you're gonna cuss on the last one.
Yep. So I thought that was a good one, but yeah, Brandon, it's pretty crazy. I can't believe we've hit 100 episodes. It's honestly been a journey. You know, we started this podcast when neither one of us had a kid. Now I got 2. You're about to have 2. We know a little bit more than we did back then, but maybe not too much. But it's been fun, and we appreciate every single listener that we have. Anyone that's reached out to us, we love hearing from you. Anyone that's left us a review, told your friends about us, we appreciate you. If you haven't, please feel free to do so. Like us on all our social media pages. It's been crazy. We're gonna keep doing this thing. We've had a lot of listeners lately. Our viewership has grown, so we appreciate that as well. It's a lot of fun, and anyone who knows being a dad is probably the hardest, but also the best thing you'll ever do. So all the dads out there, our hats tipped off to you. Our angel envy glasses raised to you. Shout out to you guys, and shout out to you, Brandon, for 100 episodes and putting up for me for 100 episodes. That's something to cheers to.
It absolutely is, and I can't lie to you, Jerry. This Angel's Envy is hitting pretty hard for the 100th episode. Let's get it.
Well, until next time.